What up, man? It's your boy Vigilante Styles, man. Hey, look, today we're going to do a tracking and a mix session. Okay, what I mean by tracking is not that I'm actually recording these people. I'm emulating the process because a lot of times people don't even do that stuff, right? This was tracked, but I'm not too terribly sure how it was. So, you know, I can see now, before I get into this whole thing here, I have to also address this yeah, this is a long song, man, didn't I? Oh, okay, there we go. This guy, one of my commenters on a previous video says the tracks are already mixed, you're not mixing anything. Okay, well, I'm tired of really dealing with stupid people, okay, to be honest, and he's stupid, and he calls himself a pro engineer, and he's never worked with anybody, except himself, apparently, and that doesn't make you a pro, really, to be honest. Sure, I mean, it makes you an engineer, you're engineering your own stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're some kind of professional that you mix for other people. He has no credits outside of his own work. But he made this thing, oh, nobody pre-mixes, right? That's just something that they don't do, and that's a complete lie. Like, I'm going to show you how it's a lie right here. So these are the tracks that I got from Telefunken. Nicki, Bluhm, and the Gramblers, Go Go Go. So I'm not going to read the thing here, but they said the performance was recorded in multi-track format by San Francisco Bay Area producer and engineer David Simon Baker, and co-engineered by the band's front-of-house engineer Michael Wilson, covering nearly every single channel of the stage where microphones are provided by Telefunken electroacoustic, including the M80 Dynamic on vocals and snare drum, the M81 Universal Dynamic on guitar amps, the M82 on kick drum, as well as the ELA M260 small diaphragm tube mics on hat and drum overheads. Preamps manufactured by API, Neve, Grace, and Midas were all used in the on-location recording process. The multi-track audio files of the original song Go 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 from this live recording are now available for download. All the files are clearly labeled in the same format with the source listed first, lead Vox acoustic piano, followed by the microphone C12, AR51, etc., and then the make and model of the preamp BAE 1073, Manley, Neve API, etc. All the audio files are presented in WAV format. They're at 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz sample rate. They can be okay. So I've done this, right? So let's get rid of that. So there's a bit of a discrepancy. So here it says acoustic guitar DI. Okay, I'm not sure what a DI. I'm thinking direct input. I don't know if there's, or maybe it's a DI microphone is what it is, but it's not. There's no what do you call it? Nothing's telling me if there was a Neve or an API mic create on this. Backing vocals M80, M80. This is the microphone they were talking about, bass guitar DI. Electric guitar M81. I don't know what DI is, guys. You can teach me, okay? You can teach me what DI is. I don't know what that is. So, anybody who wants to leave a comment, tell me what DI is. I appreciate that. M81, I think that was a microphone type. But once again, I don't see anything in here that's telling me what kind of preamp they've used. This one is okay, it's the hi-hat, the ELA M260. I think it's just another microphone. M82, M80, 260, 260, M81, DI, ELA M60 FET prototype. Now FET, I'm thinking of a FET compressor, like a 1176 or something. They may have run it through something like that. M80, AR51. It's like another kind of microphone. So now I know that they probably recorded directly into the computer, right? So it didn't go through like a tape machine or anything. So, and because this is live tracks, my guess is I'm not really sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to run it through the Lindell 80 series, because that's supposed to be a Neve 8028 console. So we're going to do that. and then into tape. But I won't probably engage the mic pre's because I don't want to add preamp saturation when obviously there already is, right? So, but this is preparing the tracks. This is the stuff that this guy said people do not do, right? But they did do it, and I just showed you that they did that. I chose color 1 because that sounds closest in character to an actual hardware 1073 that I've heard. So basically Lindell 80 and then 1073 is my summing, or basically a classic Neve 80 series is my summing. I'm not putting anything on the bus because this is going to be tracked out. So we're going to be tracking out. Now I'm going to put tape machine because none of this went to tape. So I want tape. I want tape vibe on this. We'll adjust the tape machine as we go because right now it's showing master tape. So anyway, the guy's a complete idiot. You know, I'm not going to just deal with people like that anymore. Just stupid. There's pre-mixed, bro. Stupid. Well, it's not pre-mixed. It's dumb. That's the kind of stuff that you're supposed to do to get the tracks to where they sound decent for a mixer to mix them. You understand what I'm saying? Because here's what I mean by this. In the recording process back in the day, people went to a studio and then they were recorded through a console to a tape machine. You had a recording engineer there recording you, and trying to get the takes as good as possible and make sure that the instruments sound good and everything, have good body, good character and stuff individually going into the tape. Now, a lot of times they had the Neve console because people like the character of a Neve console. They like the preamps and they just like the way that the console sounds and the character that it puts to the sound. And you guys have watched some of my videos, you know how good that Lindell 80 sounds. But when you're mixing, you need something more surgical and more transparent. That's where you go to an SSL console or you just go straight up in the box with your digital plugins and stuff. Because that's where you are basically at that point trying to perfect the sound and you're trying to balance it. But you want it transparent. You don't really want to add much more color than that's already there because they got it from the Neve, right? So that's kind of the thing. And I also had an argument with a dude, not really an argument, but a disagreement with a dude who runs another channel over the same thing, saying that they don't do that. I said, well, they don't do that now, but they used to do that. You understand? That's a thing. This is a technique. This is a thing that predates modern era music. You're talking like 90s and 80s and 70s. That's how they were doing it then. Well, 70s they didn't have SSL consoles until near the end of the 70s. Okay, they were developed somewhere around the late to mid 70s, and then really didn't become a studio thing until the 80s. You know, where you start to see a lot of them in studios by the 80s. So really, the SSL is really more from 80s on forward, whereas a Neve console can go back to like the late 60s or so, but probably more prevalent in the 70s. Developed in the late 60s, used heavily in the 70s, and still used to this day, and they just sound amazing. And now we have plug-in versions of that sound amazing. And you guys have seen my plug-in doctor video where I'm analyzing these plugins. So this is completely legit. Everything's great. We're ready to go. But the first thing that I want to do, though, is we are going to track it the way that we want to do it. And this is where the guy was telling me on the weekend mix that, they've already done all that, so therefore you don't need to be mixing it. No, I'm telling you, this is what they did first. I'm not saying they did it through a Neve, but they did something like this, where a producer has put his plugins, put his EQs and compressors that he wanted on it to give the sound a type of character. And then they give it to the mixer, who is just going to basically fine-tune all those things. That quote-unquote 10% to mix it and get it and make it a 100%. A lot of the time, a lot of these engineers, and you can look this up, a lot of engineers kind of feel like when they get the tracks, what do they want me to do with it? It already sounds perfect. But I'll still try to do something, because that's what they sent it to the mixer for. Do something. Make it a little better, right, than what I did. And then you have that extra 10%. And then you send it off to mastering. And a lot of times the mastering engineer is kind of like, I don't have much to do, but let me fine tune it. And then it's perfect. Then it's a record. But that's what I'm saying, And this dickhead is over here talking shit on my fucking videos, telling me that you didn't mix anything, they were already mixed. so you are not showing anything. He's a stupid fucking idiot, dude. Now, do some of these stems, these remix packs and stuff, maybe they were already basically pre-mixed stems. That's what I'm saying, though. It's still, there's still something you can do to it that they didn't do to those tracks, okay? Because you gotta think, like, that Weekend song was mixed by Serban in Pro Tools and Metric Halo channel strip, dude, and like maybe some UAD plugins and Waves plugins. It really wasn't a whole lot of stuff that was going on to that. He doesn't recreate an analog console in the box like I do. He doesn't use Brainworks that I know of, right? So he's not doing that kind of stuff. He's trying not to do those kind of things. And the Metric Halo is basically a transparent channel strip with SSL E curves, and that's what they want, right? It already has all the character it needs. You don't really have to do much to it. But other than balance those volumes, fine tune any EQ things or whatever, or maybe sweeten it a little bit, then basically at the very end, do your mix bus processing, which would be probably some compression, maybe some EQ, maybe a limiter of some kind, and then send it off to mastering, right? But I do it SSL style. I like, it's like a console, so I'm just going to go mix on the console. The master bus is only the bus compressor, and then it's done, right? And then that can go to mastering, which then I have kind of a mastering process that I do, which I'll just tell you. I probably won't show it in a video, but I'll just tell you. I use the Shadow Hills mastering compressor. I learned how the mastering people use that. I'm thinking about getting a Baxendal EQ. I don't know, and I haven't got that yet, but I use MasterDesk, which basically has a lot of the processes that mastering engineers would use in mastering process. It's all in one plugin. Is it replacing all the gear that mastering engineers use? No, it doesn't. But for me, it's good enough, and it's mastered sounding. So, there's that. But I mean, yeah, I'm thinking of maybe getting a plugin for each one of those processes, and then not use MasterDesk later. But I'm probably going to be going through Plugin Alliance because their plugins are legit and sound like the hardware. So, anyway, enough of me talking, man. Let's do this. This is the process that I'm talking about. We are emulating tracking. Okay? This is the tracking session. So pretend now at this point I am the recording engineer, not the mix engineer. Let's go. Okay, so this is all ready to go, I think. There's some things I'm already thinking I'd like to do in the mix. Like, I'm definitely going to gate a lot of this stuff so we can get a tighter sound out of it. But this is ready to go. This is the quote-unquote pre-mixing that dude said that people don't do. But I did it. And a lot of people do this, so it's just a bunch of bullshit. These guys just don't know any better. It is what it is. So, nice thing here is we can... oh wait, I want that to go into a folder. I'm going to create a folder, sorry. Gramblers track, we just know this is the tracking session. Select that, I'm just going to call it G1. And yeah, I want it all 4832. Okay. Yep. Clipping has occurred. The signal is 0.80 dB over, but we're doing 32-bit float. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that. I got floating point. I'm not going to worry about that. So it's, when you have floating point audio, it's not really going to clip. It just says that it is, but it's not really. Okay, so the bass guitar, the kick, and the lead vox. Do you want? No, I don't want to delete those. Thanks. Yeah, because we're using floating point audio, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're doing anything below float, 32-bit float, let's say you do 24, 16, that'll clip. That's not going to sound good. Floating point audio, you ain't got to worry about it. Anyway, that's the tracking session, guys. That's basically what that is. Now we're going to go into the mix session, and that's when we're going to really start doing some stuff. All right. So on to the next one.